so of course I'm here. I'll be more than happy to answer. मेरा बैकग्राउंड पता नहीं आपने कहाँ तक बनाया
आपने बहुत ही तफसील के साथ और बहुत ही कॉम्प्रिहेंसिव मैंने आपको दर्ज करवाया. We are very much honored to be amongst you such a huge personality. मैं आपको शुरू समझता हूँ कि हमारे साथ हैं.
Thank you very
बाद
much.
में बाद में तो हम मज़ीद हम ज़्यादा सेलिब्रेट भी करेंगे. ठीक है.
मेरा ताल्लुक बेसिकली पाकिस्तान एयरफोर्स से मैंने अपना कैरियर शुरू किया. And I remained with the Air Force till 1992, from 1967 onwards. This entire period I flew all fighters, F-86 to F-16s. I commanded 2 fighter squadrons. My last appointment was Director of Operational Planning at the Air Headquarters. I was also the top gun of Pakistan Air Force Share Award. So at that point in time, when I look back and see, मैं देखता हूँ कि उस वक्त मेरा दिमाग थोड़ा सा खराब हो गया था. So I would not listen to my bosses, and I would think that nobody is better than me. But as luck would have it, Allah Taala कुछ ना कुछ बेहतरी करता है. So I resigned based on my inability to adjust to my superiors. And when I resigned, the chief of the air staff called me and he said, we will not let you resign. We will give you a complete release if you insist. Because I had direct interaction at that point in time. I had written a book called Concept of Operations for the Pakistan. It was a 400-page document that basically outlines as to how to fight the war and all that. Because this was the first comprehensive concept of operations written by anybody in the Pakistan Air Force. Previously, one of the chief had written a small, few pages booklet when I expanded that. So ultimately, because I had made up my mind, and I made up my mind to go and study further in aviation, and I had selected aviation management as my area or discipline of interest. So Pakistan Air Force gave me a complete release with full benefits. So I got decent amount of money. So I put all that money in one basket. That was Embry-Riddle Aeronautical University in Daytona Beach, Florida. So I went there, and everybody, including my near and dear ones, family members, friends, they said, "You've really gone crazy because nobody puts all the money in this, because you need to do some investment in somewhere," and so that. But I said, no, I have to do it, and I have to do it from this. This university is regarded as the Harvard of Aviation, Embry-Riddle Aeronautical University, and I said, no, I must, if I have to do it, I'll do it from it. So the first semester onwards, there was a competition by NASA on human factors simulation studies. The details probably kabhi mauka milega to discuss, but that was published also in international magazines, and I won the first award. Then onwards, NASA sponsored me for the entire education, and my education became free. And Alhamdulillah, remained in the research labs with NASA, and also published a number of papers which are there in the Library of Congress in the United States. And after staying almost close to 17 years, I returned back to Pakistan. Essentially, it's very difficult to come back and adjust if you live so long. And Alhamdulillah, I had a very enriching experience in the United States. And of course, Pakistan Air Force may be a enriching experience. So I came back because essentially my father used to visit me very often, and then he had come to a stage where he was bedridden and he could not move, so he asked me to move over. I came back here, and I am lucky to have spent one complete year with him, after which he went to this heavenly abode. लेकिन उसमें यहाँ पे आने के बाद एक ये opportunity मिली कि I could contribute effectively what I had learned and with the experience that I had. So I first worked with Shaheen Foundation I was looking after their one of their IT-related organizations in Science Communicate, where again, Alhamdulillah, by the grace of Allah, I won out of entire. There was a world competition with 13 different categories in the call center that we were running, and we won 8 out of 13 from world-class competition in Sydney, Australia, and 2 in Las Vegas, United States. So, Alhamdulillah, God has been very kind with me. And then PIA approached me to start off their institute in aviation management. So I worked with Alpha Institute of Aviation Management Sciences for almost a year, established from scratch, brought it up to a level where it got its affiliation from Karachi University and a lot of students were studying. लेकिन जिस तरीके से पाकिस्तान में होता है ये सारे efforts politics के नजर हो गए, and I had to leave, and along with me some very good faculty members like Professor Nadeem and few others. They also left, and ultimately Karachi University decided to pull away their affiliation. I believe through different resources and under the table maneuvers, they've managed to do something. But the bottom line is that many of the students, they want to come back here after we have started this. Initially, we started working with Karachi University to get the affiliation, because there are only 2 ways of starting a university. One, you get your own charter, which takes 2 years plus, or you start off with an affiliation. The affiliation is the easier way, and also the way most people do it. So Karachi University से हमको BBA की affiliation मिली, but I wanted MBA because there were a lot of candidates who wanted to do MBA in civil aviation, Shaheen Airlines, and PIA and others. So we said, no, this is not good enough. We need both MBA and BBA. We said, we'll give you after 6 months. So they themselves suggested that you go to Federal University for 2 major reasons. Number 1 reason is they say it's a federal university, and the chancellor is the president of the country, whereas Karachi University, the chancellor is the governor. And the second thing is that your students will be able to transfer their credits anywhere they want without any problems. In Karachi University, if we had taken that route, then we would have been restricted to maximum SIL. We could not have gone. Now we have a plan, inshallah, to open up in the north as well as in Dubai down the road. And also, I'm just coming back from Civil Aviation Authority, and they have offered me a place in Civil Aviation Authority itself. So some of our classes and some of our seminars will be held over there. So then, Alhamdulillah. And on Friday, 4 o'clock, we are inviting Director General and all the executives of civil aviation. Hopefully, inshallah, the key people will be on board with us, either in the Board of Governors or in the advisory board. This has a great opportunity for the students. The students will be able to interact with the upper class aviation management elite of the country, both civil aviation and airlines. And in that way, research work and all the other good things that will happen to the industry will also be, the beneficiaries will also be the students. And I think the best thing in this entire event and the entire exercise that we're doing is the fact that aviation industry needs people skilled in this area, and we are the only ones who would be offering this skill. In fact, today I also represent, by the way, Embry-Riddle Aeronautical University in Pakistan and in the region. There are a few students already studying there. It's an expensive program. It is about $525 per credit, and each course is 3 months, and you have to take at least 9 credits, 3 courses. So it becomes a little expensive for anybody on the normal run, unless you are very rich, to study, and you get the same degree that you will get once you are actually physically studying in Daytona Beach, Florida. There is no difference. They don't give you online, although they are teaching online, but they don't give you online. But the thing that I want to tell you is that today you will be very happy to learn. They have installed a video conferencing in the conference room, where they have offered me that embryological professors would be able to teach it. So I'm going to talk to them hopefully tonight when it is morning time over there, to arrange for this thing and have at least some of the lectures arranged through embryological for our candidates as well, through this video conferencing package that they have. Also, inshallah, as we move on, you'll see there will be a lot of internships for the students, there will be scholarships, programs. In fact, we were discussing only yesterday that those people who come on top of the course in each semester, we might generate funds ourselves to give them the opportunity to study at embryological through our scholarships. So inshallah, that is in the offing, it's in the plan, and those people who do well will have an incentive to look up to something that is good for this. And of course, inshallah, I keep telling people that aviation is a catalyst for economic growth. Aviation is something that gives impetus to economy, and this is something that not many people realize, that if government gives more emphasis on education of aviation and installation of various facilities regarding aviation, then the entire economy will grow. Because this brings in trade, this brings in exchange of goods and services, and time is reduced. So whatever that you are doing, if you are doing it by road, it may take 5 days, might happen in even just a day or less than a day, maybe in hours. So if you take it this micro model to a yearly thing, then you might save many days. So what your economy is, without aviation, it might be double or 3 times the moment aviation enters into this game. And of course, there are statistical proof of all this, and inshallah, our students, candidates will benefit from all this. I'll be happy to answer any questions, because I can speak for as long as needed, but I would prefer कि आप लोग सवाल पूछें if there's anything that is.
So मेरे ध्यान से एक ही सवाल आ रहा बात हो रहा है. अभी फ्रांस आपने तो बिल्कुल डिटेल में सेक्रेटरी यूनिवर्सल को किया गया, and there is no ambiguity about their competency in their mind. This सवाल है, how long you will be able to retain it? ऐसा हो कि मतलब बीच में
अच्छा सवाल है आपका, बहुत अच्छा सवाल है. पाकिस्तान में इसी तरीके से होता है. Exactly. But I tell you, Alhamdulillah, the kind of team that we have, apart from me, 2 other PhDs in Bismarck, from Cranwell University, which is again 6 or 7 Cranwell graduates. Okay, another big name in aviation. They are part of the team, and we have another embryological graduate. In fact, I had gone to him, 2 embryological graduates. Sorry. In fact, one I did not put him on the thing. He said, "No, why don't you put me also there?" And he comes from one is a chief commercial officer and marketing officer of CCMO. Is the designation. It's a director level, principal director level position. And the other is Director Airport Services, Mr. Altera and Asif Bashir. Both of them are embryological graduates. They have volunteered to pass on their information, their knowledge and education, and take some few classes. So with this kind of faculty, there are 2 things that you have to see whenever you get into a university. See the faculty. and see the course curriculum itself. Our course curriculum is, in Pakistan, there is nobody competing, definitely. Of course, overseas, there are a number of universities, but we are trying to emulate their model. और जो हमारा model है is basically based on embryonal model where there is flying going on, there is education in technical, in engineering, in certification courses, and MBAs in aviation management, all in one area, in the same ambience, same environment, and that is exactly what we want to do. And that's why we have kept it, although the Vice Chancellor of Federal Universities asked me to open up, have the classes here and make a department here, aviation management. And I, very humbly I said, okay, although that is a very good thing to do, and down the road we might, but right now we want to emulate this model. And that is why we want to hold everything in this aviation environment. There's a big difference. When you study something and you see something actually happening in the environment, that learning becomes real valuable learning. Otherwise it is just bookish. Because this is the problem in Pakistan is academia and the industry are poles apart. They are not working in cohesion. They are not, in Embry-Riddle, believe me, there are offices of Boeing, Lockheed Martin, even IBM, Cisco, and NASA. So they are all the time interacting. They are giving research assignments, they are learning from them and getting internships and scholarships and going on. There's a huge activity that goes on. Money flows from academia to industry, from industry to academia. And that is how nations grow. And in Pakistan, very unfortunate, but that is something that needs to be done. And inshallah, we might be pioneers. I believe there are few institutes that are doing now. Maybe LUMS is doing a little bit. IBAAS started interacting with the industries, calling the industry over and all that. And in aviation, of course, we will be pioneers in the region.
So, thank you very much.
Thank you very much. बहुत बहुत शुक्रिया.
I have to go back to my office.
जी जी, thank you. जी जी,
मेरे को आपके हवाले हैं.
हाँ बिल्कुल.
अभी कोई काम नहीं है.
Thank you very much. नहीं आपका
मैं इसी लेवल पर कंट्रीब्यूट कर सकूँ तो
जी
आगे
वेलकम. थैंक यू सर. तो आप लोग एमबी वाले हैं या बीबी वाले हैं? क्या थोड़ा अपना इंट्रोडक्शन दे दें प्लीज.
I want to take an admission in MBA.
And you have done your intern? Or?
Yes.
Aerospace. 3 years.
Okay. After?
I want to do BBA.
लड़कियां पहले नहीं बनती हो रहा है